AM in Service Solution, and of course the Eastern Caribbean. Good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful Wednesday, the 10th day of April 2024. Excitedly, I am here to present folks an edition of House Guests with the Department of Physical Development, Urban Renewal representatives right here with me. And not forgetting, we have our PMA representatives as well. A pleasant good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, I am here from the PMA office as the PMA secretary. I'm here with my team from physical planning and RASDP, who are here to discuss the
The new initiatives that we have with the ministry, that's including that of the designation of the World Heritage Site we have right here in Soufrière as an environmental protection area. So we are all excited to be joining you and being here with you. We have quite a large team gathering here in the studio.
Yeah.
So everybody will take an opportunity to introduce themselves and their role as part of this dynamic team here to serve you today at Soufrière 88.5.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So we have our legal officer, Miss Joavel. I'll let her introduce herself.
But you've already done the introductions for me. But again, Marcelina Joavel here, attorney at law, acting in the capacity as legal officer for the Department of Physical Development.
My name is Delisha Daniel. I am working with this beautiful team as a communications consultant as we continue to bring the relevant information to the public. As stated in the Physical Planning Act, public sensitization must be undertaken during the process of establishing a designated area as an EPA. Sorry? Okay. So I'll get back to what I was saying.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Jasmine Weeks, Physical Planning Officer attached to the Department of Physical Development, assisting with all planning-related matters.
Hello, everyone. Ken Aldonza, Project Manager for the Renewable Energy Sector Development Project in the Department of Infrastructure, Ports and Transport.
Good morning. I'm Paul Bolan. I'm the consultant surveyor designated to do the demarcation of the PMA boundary.
So once again, we thank you for joining us and for being here live with us at the studio. And we do encourage each and every one of you to partake in this exercise. It's a very exciting initiative done by the Ministry of Planning, and it's going to impact each and every one of us here in Soufrière and in St. Lucia as a whole. And we encourage each and every one of you to reach out and let us know your opinions, your thoughts on the matter. We are looking at designating the World Heritage Site as an environmental protection area. This is going to be done underneath the Physical Planning and Development Act. This is the act that governs land development in St. Lucia. And of course, Soufrière is not an exception to that rule. And over the years, we have made some concerted efforts to highlight Soufrière in our designations, in our activities that we are doing. So you will have seen over the years, we have established the Pitons management area, which is housed right here in Soufrière, and they are available to provide you with as much information that you may need on all the activities regarding the World Heritage Site, as well as our designation of the area as an environmental protection area. You must be wondering what this environmental protection area is all about, and it is to say that we have a very unique situation here in Soufrière in that the area is very beautiful, it is very spectacular, it's the only one we have in the world, as well as in the Caribbean. There's nowhere else in the Caribbean we have these beautiful peaks. And so we're recognizing that since it is so special that we have to have protection for it. And underneath the Physical Planning Act, there is provision to have that protection. And it is what is referred to as the environmental protection area. That is what we are trying to establish as the area for the PME. So we've recognized that we have transitioning that beautiful area from the Pitons management area into an environmental protection area. We have already seen that there has been so much protection provided at the world stage. That is why it's a World Heritage Site. So we need to now do so locally underneath our legislation. That is why we're putting it as an environmental protection area. I can let the legal officer go through the legal implications of what that is and how you as people, St. Lucians, locals, how that is going to impact you, what it means, and she can explain further as to the legislation that governs this activity.
Hello again. So Section 54 of the Physical Development Act makes provisions for providing environmental protection status. And essentially, Section 54 says that before we could even publish or gazette the order, we need to sensitize the public appropriately and we need to consult. So this is the leg of the sensitization program, and we are here in Suffer, like Ms. Karen Augustine mentioned, to sensitize the public. So we will, today is our first day here. After this, what are we having, Karen, or will we be?
We have a list of
We have an
activities.
agenda,
We have a
actually.
wide agenda that we are intending to undertake.
Yes, so this afternoon at 5 p.m., we will be at Fort Saint Jacques. My apologies. We'll be having a we'll be having a community meeting at Fort Saint Jacques. Tomorrow, April the 11th, we will be at Liberty FM, and that will be happening at 10 a.m. At 1:30, we will be having a meeting for stakeholders. These are business owners within the community, the Soufrière community. And that will be happening again at 1:30 at Leisure Inn. At 5:30, we are having a community meeting at Dale Secom Mine. And then lastly, on the third day, I think that this is the exciting one, we will be meeting with the Soufrière community at the community market. So we're hoping that people can show up, show your support, and because it benefits all of us.
Thank you, Ms. Joavel. We do appreciate your continued support in this adventure. And we do have new persons joining us, and they are also from the RSDP project. Maybe they too can introduce themselves and tell us their role in this exciting activity.
Yes, good morning. My name is Al Bafelme. I'm the technical coordinator for the Renewable Energy Sector Development Project. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good day to all. Morning. My name is Michael Andrew, and I'm the Environmental Safeguards Officer on this project.
Thank you, Mr. Michael Andrew. Mr. Michael Andrew has been with the ministry for quite a few years, so he's a very much well-experienced individual, so he can always be relied upon to provide support in this activity. Thank you for coming. As we were mentioning, we are part of the Ministry of Planning, and we are here to look at having this area as a designated area, as an environmental protection area. We recognize how sensitive this topic can be to quite a few persons in the community, and we are encouraging persons to let us know their opinions, their thoughts on the matter. Let us know how you feel about having this area designated and having that special protection afforded to this World Heritage Site. We encourage you to contact us. Our numbers are easily available at
We're sharing. Bear with us.
Our numbers at the PMA office are 468-6650. This is the manager. 6652, which is me, the secretary. 6653, and the program assistant. Physical planning, the numbers are 468-66 4438, which is the chief physical planning officer.
Okay, I'd like to also add that you could get us on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok as well, guys. Yes. And I think that's about it. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Check us out on there. We will be updating the page daily about with the activities that are ongoing.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we have mentioned before, the PMA is not changing. We are not making any changes to the boundaries of the PMA. So please do not be frightened that we are taking anybody's land. We're not making any changes. The boundaries are well established. Everybody knows where they are. We are formalizing them by surveying them so that they can be form part of the legislation. So as I mentioned, we do have a surveyor on board who is undertaking that activity. And so you will be seeing us in the community doing our necessary surveys and our little activities to formalize this project. And so do not be afraid to approach and inquire as to what is happening. It is your business, it is our business. And so you are all part of the process, and we encourage you to reach out and to be seen and heard, and let your comments and your feelings about the situation be understood by the representatives that are on ground. As mentioned, you can contact us at our various modes of multimedia communications, and we do recognize everybody. We will take all your comments, all your concerns. So let us know your thoughts on the matter. The boundaries, as we have mentioned, are already established. We are currently undertaking a survey. We want to ensure that the pitons that are ours, that are represented on our flag, remain as national to us as they have always been, in as a pristine a state as possible, that our waters remain as clean, our environment remain as fresh, and that persons can enjoy this beautiful scenery that we call the Soufre Pitons. We are very concerned that we do not encourage or facilitate anything that is going to jeopardize what is the World Heritage Site. So we are trying our best to put everything in place so that everybody can, for future generations, experience what we have grown to love and appreciate as part of our natural landscape. We have such beautiful waters here that we don't want anybody just coming in and, polluting our environment. So we're putting all the necessary protection underneath the law to ensure that this is kept in as pristine a state as we have been able to have it so far. We are definitely going to be coming out into the community. So once again, we ask and encourage each and every one of you to undertake participation at these various activities that we have listed. We will go through them once again so that you can have time to jot them down, and so you can make necessary arrangements to join us. We are here in Soufre for the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and on Friday. And as mentioned, we will be out at the Soufre market, in the open market, with our team from the ministry, so that you can engage us, talk to us about what it is that your concerns are, and see what exactly it is that we are doing and how you are going to be impacted by it, how you are going to benefit.
Thank you so much for that as well. In terms of the survey, could you guide me through the processes for our listenership as well, online or even a face-to-face community interaction?
Hi again. As a consultant surveyor, what we are planning to do is to put a unique monument like a survey mark along the existing roads, ravines, and some of the actual existing boundaries, so as not to change a boundary, like Mr. Gustin was saying, but to make it clear where the PITO management area is going to follow, and also to enclose an area that will be looked at more acutely in terms of benefits and for protection for the environment and for our PITOs for the future.
Thank you, Mr. Boland. Very informative. We do appreciate your attention to this very serious matter. We look forward to having you at our various activities. We're all eager to meet you in person. And so I encourage everybody again to come out, meet Mr. Boland, meet our team, be part of the activity. And you'll get an opportunity to ask him more questions about what a survey is all about.
There's something else I want to include, that the way the protection is created for the PITO management area. There is a PITO management boundary, and then there's a parallel buffer, so that we are going to be not only doing the survey of the PITO management area, but we're also surveying the buffer. So it may look like we're away and straying away from our line, but actually it's a buffer area so that there's a verge between what can be done and what cannot be done, and we verge it into the Peter management protection. Thank you.
So, can I ask, is that similar to demarcation?
Well,
Is that a specific colors that can be used in terms of marking off?
the process is actually defined as a demarcation because the from 2004 the World Heritage Committee has requested that we as a nation make it clear where the limits of the Peter management area um, should be. And as a result, we are demarcating it, but it's also going to be a full-fledged survey because we have to have it registered, and we also have to make sure that we comply with the laws of St. Lucia. So it will be a proper survey, but it's not going to impact people's boundaries. Like, we're not taking land from anybody. We're just making sure everybody knows where it's protected. What we're going to cherish, what we're going to put together as our pride in the Pitons.
Again, I think having those sort of consultations will be well received for the public, and I think it would really be a deeper appreciation as well if our dialect can be used, because not everybody would definitely understand the mission.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, we are a dual um, um, Creole nation and English, so I'm sure that we're gonna go back and forth.
I'm trying to say as well, somebody should maybe at least for our listening audience as well translate some things into our Creole dialect.
A Creole.
Yes, for everybody to understand.
He's a Creole like a bat of people.
That's definitely true. So
So can someone?
we. Right.
Sa mga di apres sa misi bolon ditale c'est lui qui est responsable pour apporter terre et ça il a passé apporter bon PMA Piton management area it regarding also a party bon juste la nécessaire à créer a buffer zone a green buffer zone ça tout can also demarqué because only a site called PMA qui est tellement prestigious only put a lot more so take create put a protection police so come meeting so you got create green buffer zone là et ça gars dit c'est surveiller pareil pour assurer moun c'est l'inglaterre là but après il a fait physique so moun kay ouais des fois marque sur bon job pour ça c'est PMA alright et puis le travail moun so une pièce question des pour ouais pour une petite question pour ça juste parler. Right? Et tout ça, nous avons fait là, c'est pour nous protéger Python. Parce que tout pays n'a place que nous avons protéger, c'est ça, nous avons parler about lui. Quand nous avons boost about lui. C'est ça nous voulons faire. Et c'est pas by physical plan development, tout ça, c'est by whole pays, but nous avons souffert, c'est la plus prise, c'est pour at least, nous autres really quarter ça, ça a fait là. But l'autre barre nous regarder ce bénéfice là because who can manager bon là tout en place là puis des un bénéfice pour ça faire pour écotourisme ou différentes activités so c'est ça me voulais dire après ça
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. You said it better than I could. I think Mr. Gustin is going to remind us of the locations that we can meet to have a one-on-one rapport, and also to answer any questions. So she's just going to repeat that for us again. Thank you.
Before I pass it on to Ms. Augustine, I think that it is also important that we mention that we currently have policies in place. However, it is important for us to have these policies integrated into law because that will provide full-fledged coverage and protection, right? So the plan is to keep What we currently have is a lack policy, so limits of acceptable change policy, and that will be integrated into law, like I've mentioned. So, in the LAC policy, currently we have 5 policy areas. These 5 policy areas under law will now be 5 zoned areas. So, just to mention a few of them, Mr. Gustin. So, we have policy area 1, which would be the Pitons, both Pitons, Pitometer, the surrounding areas. We have policy area 2, which will be the Sulphur Springs. Policy area 3, coastal areas. So policy area 4, we have the settled areas and plantations, and policy area 5, maritime. So just to correct myself, policy areas is what we use under the LAC study, which is a policy like I've mentioned, but we're now integrating this. So as a law, it will be called zone areas. So again, to reiterate, it will be zone area 1, that will be Gopito, Pitipito, and the ridge, so Pitometer. Zone area 2, that will be the Sulphur Springs. Zone area 3, coastal areas. Zone area 4, settled areas and plantations. And zone area 5, maritime zone.
Okay, so you can see we have transitioned over the years from recognizing that we have a very beautiful area that we want protected to creating a policy dynamic where we have put policies so that the state can be guided by a policy instrument. Now we're further taking this next step in putting all of this policy into law. So thank you, Ms. Ravel, for giving us that background as to the various legislative boundaries that we are attempting to establish. And we are very excited to see that we undertake this transition. Can you give us an idea of how long before this actually takes place?
Until it's incorporated into law? Well, we were thinking about in a month's time we shall be there.
So you think very shortly we shall have that legislation in place, and so it will be binding on all of us as St. Lucians when it comes to the protection of our natural existing environmental area. We are so proud and we are so pleased that we have been able to do this transition, and it will provide us with that ability to make sure everybody is aware that we have this special, unique environment that we are seeking to preserve, not just for ourselves, but for the enjoyment of future generations. And this is not just a terrestrial, but also a marine area that we are seeking to have that protection. So all the waters around the PMA is what forms the marine zone and forms part of that protection area as well. Mrs. Weeks is very eager to join us and have get an opportunity to contribute to our conversation.
Hi, good morning, listeners. So I just wanted to repeat what my colleagues have already shared with you, but I heard them using a lot of words which are not everyday words that I'm not particularly sure our average listener may be able to relate to. So I'm just going to try to simplify it a little. So what our legal officer, Ms. Ravel, was saying is that from 2004, when we recognized the importance of the Pitons as an icon to St. Lucia, as a major source of our heritage, our culture, our history, economic importance, and environmental importance, the government took steps to put in some rules to help us protect it. This is what we call the policy. And this policy basically gave the different actors, the different stakeholders guidance as to what we could or could not do in the Pitons area. So this is what we have been operating with from 2004. But as the years have gone by and more persons have had interest in the area, that includes foreigners who are trying to benefit from the government's priorities or the government's interest in encouraging investment in St. Lucia, we are realizing that the policies on their own are not providing enough protection. This is why we are now taking the steps to move into a legislative environment. We're changing all of these rules into actual law. So when you go into the court of law, into the courthouse, the judge will be referring to the law. Policies are in-house and policies are subject to change. But when something is written in law and it is inscribed in law, then the process to change that is much more involved, and it is a legal agreement, it is a legal process, so it is not something very simple. And I guess the legal officer later on can give you some more information as to what exactly is involved in changing something from law or even deviating from law. When you have law, you tend to have a system of punishment, a system of rewards, which accompanies that law so that it helps you to keep that law and to not break the law. And this is why this is needed now. Part of our drive here with the environmental protection area is to ensure that not only are we protecting the pitons as an environmental area, but that the landowners, the business owners, all of the stakeholders who are found in Soufrière, who operate in Soufrière and St. Lucia at large, because we have tour operators coming all the way from Castries to enjoy the resources in the area. We are ensuring that we are putting rules in place to create an environment where there will be minimal conflict and as many of the stakeholders as possible, their interests are being covered and protected. So this is not just a matter of putting laws in place to protect the trees and the lizards and the vegetation of the piton. It is to ensure that it is done in a harmonious way and to ensure that we avoid as little conflict as possible. This is why it is important that you, the member of the public, persons who are listening, share this broadcast, share the link, encourage other persons to listen. Do contact us at the information provided and voice your concerns. Ask the questions. It is your time to find out how this law will or may impact you, your future, your children, your business, etc. So this is not us just here coming and telling you that we are putting a law and that's it. This is the part where we are telling you we are putting in this law. It is not yet enshrined. However, this is the time for you to learn about it, familiarize yourself with it, and as you become familiar, ask the questions. Do not be afraid. This is where you have to ask the questions. If you remain silent, later on you might regret your silence. So, this is what we are inviting you to do right now.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Weeks, for this clarification. Again, as Mrs. Weeks has mentioned, we are here in Soufrière for the next 3 days. We have several public engagements. Come out and be part of the process. Tomorrow, you will not regret it. Come out now and be part of the process. And I'm sure it was on everybody's mind. Once they hear about physical planning, the first thing they think about, oh, they come and take my land. We are not taking your land. We are not here to take anybody's land. We are not here to say that the government is acquiring your land for anything. We are not here to do that. The government has no intentions of taking your land. So be comforted that this is not what is going to happen here. We are just telling you of the additional protection that you are going to be afforded in keeping your land. And not just that, in having that protection, the value of your land goes up. Over the years, the government has done some very extensive investigations, and we have recognized land in Soufrière is not cheap. Land in Soufrière only going up. The value of the land in Soufrière only goes up. So there is no way you can say you are being disadvantaged with this protection. The protection is for your benefit and to ensure that you can leave that land to your children, your grandchildren, and your great grandchildren. And of course, over the generations, the value of the land is going to go up because it has the protection. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the world wants to come to St. Lucia because of our pitons. We recognize that. We are going to save it. We are going to protect it. Everybody wants to come here. So we recognize the sensitivity of it, the need to have this protection. And so we are putting all our efforts to ensuring that this transition takes place for all of us.
And correction, it's not everybody was coming. Everybody want a piece of it.
That too.
That's the increase of demand.
That is quite correct.
Sorry to interrupt you. We have the manager of the PMA. What's about Sulphur Springs?
Oh, definitely. We definitely have. Remember, the sulfur springs forms part of our as part of our zone. So the sulfur spring is falls within a zoned area of the Pitons managed area. So do not forget, as I mentioned before, the boundaries have not changed. We are still within the boundaries that have traditionally been recognized as the Pitons management area boundaries. These boundaries are fixed. We know where these boundaries are, and they do include the sulfur springs. We recognize everybody when they come to Soufrière, they have to go to the sulfur springs. On our way down, we spoke so highly about visiting the sulfur springs and how beneficial this is, not just from an economic perspective, but for us at St. Lucians to say, oh, well, I've been to the sulfur springs, I've bathed in the sulfur springs, I've taken my family to the sulfur springs. You cannot be St. Lucian if you cannot say, I've been to the sulfur springs. And if you're St. Lucian and you have not done it, now is your time to do it. Come down and enjoy Soufrière, and come down and enjoy our unique environment that we have down here, which we are putting all measures in place to protect. So again, we encourage everybody to come and join the conversation.
I strongly welcome this consultation as well. But then here I am actually. What's about creating advertising awareness in schools?
Oh, I agree with you. So we are recognizing that this is only our first leg. We do intend to take the conversation national, but we always have to start in the heart of it. We have to start here. We have to make people in Soufrière know what the thinking is. Can you imagine if people in Soufrière hear how we're doing this activity and they hearing it from somebody in New York? I mean, what is that? That's a gross disrespect. So we have to start here. We have to make sure that people in Soufrière are aware of the situation first, and then we intend to have it at a national scale. And of course, the mere fact we're using so many multimedia forms of communication, it is going international. And we want it to go international because we want everybody to know how special we think Soufrière is. People come to Soufrière, Soufrière is so far, it's so difficult to get to Soufrière. And it is worth the trip. People, when you come down here, you decide you're staying down here. There's no reason to go anywhere else. Soufrière offers everything. Of course, we're staying here. We are going to be staying here in Soufrière. So again, we'll be here for the next 3 days, and we're encouraging everybody to come and join us, come and be part of the conversation, come and ask questions, come and say what your thinking is and what you think we need to do to ensure that we are all on the same page as to how we're going to preserve this beautiful area called Soufrière.
Definitely, and here I am making an appeal to those of you all pastries people. Please go to the sulfur spring.
I am not such a castro.
We will be going on. What's a better place to be, Maui? We have Sheldon. Well, good morning. That was an acknowledgement. At one point, we were trying to tap the sulfur springs to generate electricity. Is it something that is still in the works and will it affect the way we visit the springs?
Mr. Alonso will respond to that.
I'll try to respond to that question. So this is one of the main objectives of the RESDP. Actually, I should clarify, it is not an objective of the RESDP. We're not doing anything at the Sulphur Springs. Sulphur Springs is within the PMA, which is a protected area. What RESDP is doing is looking outside of the PMA. We will be drilling one well at Belle Plaine, which is within the green buffer zone of the PMA. It's not within those 5 zones that were mentioned earlier. And we'll be drilling 2 other wells, one at Force Jacques, which is close to the green buffer zone, and the last in Saltibus. These wells are to confirm scientific information which shows that we may have a viable geothermal resource in that general area. So we are still, this project, the purpose is to provide the government of St. Lucia with enough hard information from the wells to confirm or otherwise that we have a geothermal resource that we can use to generate electricity or use directly for other purposes. We are not interfering with the sulfur springs, just to be clear.
And even adding to that, I've been at consultations where even with the drilling processes where persons would tend to bring across where I don't know if it would be the sulfur spring would be a lot more active in terms of the pungent smell, but some persons would feel a bit of a tremor, something to that extent. Persons have reported.
Yes, so during the past drilling campaign in the 80s, we've we've heard that people associated tremors with that activity. Because we are quite aware of that, we are doing two things to monitor and then react if anything should happen. Well, three things actually. The first one is we're repeating the environmental and social impact assessment for the area. So that will take into account all impacts socially, environmentally, and how we can mitigate those impacts. So that's one. The second one we're doing is a building condition survey in the vicinity of the drilling areas so that we know the condition of all structures in those areas. And the last one is we're setting up a seismic monitoring system um, to cover all of the drilling areas. Right now, there is seismic monitoring done at the Sulphur Springs area, but that's deep seismic monitoring. Drilling is very shallow relative to where earthquakes are generated. Earthquakes are generated tens of, well, hundreds, thousands of kilometers deep, right? So the seismic monitoring will be for surface monitoring for any tremors or any activity directly related to the drilling. So if we see on the seismic monitors that we've had some sort of vibration, we can, if anybody has an issue in terms of the structures, we can verify because we would have done the survey, the building condition survey.
It was also brought across, especially the drilling persons, I mean residential persons who with the close proximity, it came about that they may need to seek temporary relocation or something to that extent as well.
We do not plan on doing any relocation of anyone. So the sites we've chosen, we know who's located near the areas. At the moment, we do not plan to do any relocation. If we should have a situation that may require temporary relocation, because drilling will take place only for a period of about 40 to 50 days. It's a very short term activity. I mean, the well is capped and valves are put on the well and then it's tested for another period of 5 days or so. So during that period, if anybody needs to be temporarily relocated for any reason, we will not just move them out of their homes. We won't do that. We would have a consultation with the affected parties beforehand, and we will come to an agreement with them on where they would be relocated, when, and so on. If they do not wish to be relocated, then we would have to change the design of our project to make sure that they are not impacted.
Thank you so much for that. It is now 10 minutes moving up until the hour of 11 a.m. It's a presentation, and of course, the Eastern Caribbean. As we continue this consultation, I will let the representative themselves share in on the various questions, comments, and opinions.
Good morning, listeners. So I just wanted to reiterate for those who are now joining that although the initiative that we are here for is from the Department of Physical Planning, we are not only here from the Department of Physical Planning, we also have support from the team from the Renewable Energy Sector Development Project. So you just heard from Mr. Ken Aldonza, who's the project coordinator for that project. So he was just clarifying some queries on that project. However, what we are here today to discuss is the creation of legislation to safeguard the Pitons management area and designate it as an environmental protection area. So our focus here is not on drilling at the Sulphur Spring. There will be no drilling at the Sulphur Spring. The RESDP team is only here to lend support because they are the ones undertaking the perimeter boundary survey to identify where exactly the boundaries of the Pitons management area falls and where the green buffer zone falls. So they too are out in the communities having their public sensitization and community engagement. You can show up at their activities. They also have their social media platform, their contact information. So whatever queries you have, they are more than happy, and they are also very much able to respond to all of your queries.
So, as was mentioned earlier, this is only our first leg of our continued public sensitization activities. We are intending to again visit to Soufre at a later date so that we can again engage the students at the various schools, the teachers, the whole school environment, the institutional environment, to bring them up to speed as to what is happening. And as Mrs. Weeks mentioned, it's not just about Ministry of Planning or Physical Development. It is a team effort provided by various government agencies that form part of this activity. So you will recognize part of the protection includes that of the natural environment, as we mentioned, the marine environment. So Ministry of Fisheries is on board, the trees and the flora and fauna of the area. So therefore, forestry is on board, the National Trust is on board. So the various other government stakeholders all form part of this dynamic activity to realize this goal.
So just to one more time.
Speak up, Shravan.
Yes, so just to inform our listeners one more time of the activities that we'll be undertaking in the next 3 days. This evening at 5 p.m., we will be at Fort Jacques. We'll be having a community meeting there at the parish hall. Tomorrow, the 11th of April, which is our second day, we will be at Liberty FM at 10 a.m. At 1:30, we'll be having a meeting with our business owners in Soufre, and that will be at Leisure Inn. At 5:30 p.m., we will be having another community meeting, and that will be at Delse Combined School. And our last day in Soufre will be April the 12th. We will be having a community meeting at Soufre Market, and that will be at 10 a.m. So, Miss Weeks, if you could let our people know that in Creole.
Ok. So nou ka invite tout moun pou sorti oswaya a 5h. Nou ka e la an Fon Saint-Jacques. 5h. 5h30. Le la di 5h. Le team la di se 5h30. Nou ka e la Community Center Parish Hall Fon Saint-Jacques. Demain, nous allons aller Liberty FM à 10h du matin. À 1h30, nous allons aller Leisure Inn, mais meeting ça là, c'est pour ces gens qui ont business soufrière, c'est comme qui ont dit soufrière. Office PMA a envoyé invitation à ces gens, so plusieurs gens ont information ça là. À 5h30, nous allons aller l'école d'Else pour nous meeting avec commune là et tous ces monde là. So si on est gens qui pas qu'à côté à présent ou ça dit yo about ces meeting ça là pour tout venir, nous kay bay hot anti boire anti manger pas rien, just type là nous kay bay type là vendredi à 10h du matin nous kay là Old Trafford, ça c'est un meeting ville là en Soufrière pour un autre meeting avec community. Merci.
That's Friday at 10, right? 10 a.m.
Friday, 10 a.m. So it will be open market vibes.
So we do look forward to seeing as many of you come in and join us and be part of this exciting adventure that we are all on. So we welcome each and every one of you to come in and be part of it.
All I can say is it's now 5 minutes moving upward to the hour of 11 a.m. I have fully endorsed such an initiative, and I am really pleased that I got an opportunity to have this dialogue, and I'm sure the audience share the very same sentiments as well. The comments keep pouring in, and I will leave none but the representatives to take it away.
What's the comment?
Any final comments?
On that note, we say thank you to all those of you who did join us virtually. Thank you so much. And to the various representatives, immense gratitude to you as always. And we're here to facilitate. And I hope this is just the first in a series of consultations and dialogues we're looking to have. I just open this platform for any final comments, encouragement, inspiration. Feel free to do so.
Well, as was previously mentioned, Soufre is a very unique environment in all of St. Lucia. We do have the Pitons, which are also represented on our national flag and are used as a lot of promotional activities. And so we at the Ministry of Physical Development, recognizing this beautiful area, we are recognizing that it has means for protection.
Uh,
So we are transitioning to have this area as an environmental protection area and leave the Physical Planning and Development
you
Act.
made mention of something where you use the Pito logo. Why are you collecting royalties from that?
That's a very interesting question, and I do agree with you. Maybe we need to put something in place so that we can, benefit economically from this activity. I agree with you. Everybody is, piggybacking on our unique environment, and here it is that we have not done anything to secure it. So you are quite right. It is something that we need to do better at. That's why we are here to make that happen.
This is one of the initiatives of the PMA office, and we are indeed working towards it.
L'argent.
So we're doing everything in our powers to make this happen so that we can again continue using it as a promotional activities for St. Lucia, not just Soufrière, for St. Lucia. Soufrière cannot take it all for themselves. It has to be shared with the rest of St. Lucia. So we are putting the protection in place to make sure that we can keep on referencing this beautiful location, Soufrière.
Anybody else? Well, we'd like our communications expert to say a few words. She has been very instrumental in maintaining our social media presence and are very appreciated. Her name is Ms. Delisha Daniel.
Miss Danielle?
Hi.
Okay. Well, that's your right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, as my colleagues have said, uh, we, the ministry, and all our collaborators have been working diligently on this initiative. Some time ago, our planning chief, Ms. Karen Augustine, had a TV interview to get the ball rolling. We recently taken to social media, as has already been mentioned, to garner some traction on this initiative. And one of the intentions is to use those platforms to go live to encourage participation, especially from the younger people. We're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I am going to, those will be, can we share in the live happening right now? Yeah, so I'm gonna share those for anybody who's listening right now who would like to visit those pages. We're also going old school. We're circulating flyers and pamphlets. We have some other plans in motion. We are going to utilize every possible avenue available to us to ensure that the public is well informed, while simultaneously breaking from the stigma attached to the planning department. By the time we're done, I think anybody you stop at Aquarius Crossing should be able to tell you at least what the PMA is. If not, you say EPA and they will know exactly what you're talking about. So that's my piece.
Thank you, Ms. Daniel, for that. Again, we're encouraging all of you, each and every one of you, to be part of this dynamic process and join us at our various activities so you too can be informed.
Okay, anybody want to share something else? Yes.
You can always contact us at our offices at our various lines that we have available and open to the public. We are always willing and able to address any concerns that you may have. As I mentioned before, we are looking to provide environmental protection to the Pitons management area, and this includes the Sulphur Springs and the coastal area, as well as settled areas and plantations. We are very excited that these activities are being undertaken. It will provide legislative protection to the World Heritage Site. The rest of the world recognizes it as a site of unique qualities. So we here now in St. Lucia are putting the necessary protection on the law to ensure that that unique site is protected for future generations, for us first, of course, and for future generations. And so you, your children, your grandchildren will still have this area that is so special and so unique that we have put this protection to it. So I encourage every one of you to come down and join us and be part of this transformative process. Thank you.
Well said.
So many times to the hour, nothing else to say, but it's been a great pleasure being here facilitating such an enlightening discussion for sure. I actually did say you could engage the department for further concerns, consultations. 2 minutes after the hour. This is why I say it has been a pleasure. House guest dated the 10th day of April 2024. To you listeners, I say have a productive day. We're out.
Thank you for having us.